Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Hi, I'm Stacy Peters. I am one of the presidents for Central PTSA.
I'm Allison Featherly. I'm the other co-president, Central PTSA.
We wanted to welcome our candidates for the Board of Education and seated tonight in the order that they drew at random before our program began. I'm going to tell everybody the candidate's name. We have Janice Garrett, Linda D Guardi, Nick Ostrowski, Ida Mara, Maria Virgili, and Tammy Gradski. The Board of Education terms of this election is 6 candidates. They're up for 3 spots. All are 3-year terms to begin July 1st, 2019, and the BOE members serve without pay.
So tonight's questions we gathered from the community over the past couple of months. We had a committee made up of PTSA members and a few other people weed through this. We had quite a number of questions. So they went through and picked out the ones that were most relevant for the topic tonight, and we have students with us that will be taking turns reading the questions. In addition, I would like to introduce Krista. She is our Webster CSD Public Relations Coordinator and this evening's moderator. So thank you, Krista.
Thanks, everybody. I just want to thank Webster Central PTSA again for hosting this event once again this year, especially co-presidents Allison Featherly and Stacy Peters. Tonight's Meet the Candidates night is really an opportunity for us to hear from all of you, all 6 of you, and ask questions with the end goal of making an informed choice during the district's Tuesday, May 21st annual budget vote and Board of Education election. Our program is being aired live tonight on WETV Spectrum Cable Channel 1301 and being streamed live via the district's website, websterschools.org. So a nice hello for everyone watching online tonight. After this evening, Meet the Candidates night will also be available on our website prior to the budget vote and Board of Education election, which again is on Tuesday, May 21st at the Webster Schrader High School gym right here, located at 875 Ridge Road. So the format for this evening's forum will begin as follows. We're going to start with the candidates' 2-minute opening statements. At the conclusion of those statements, we have, as Allison and Stacy mentioned, we have Webster students with us tonight, so such an exciting change to have the kids here. They'll be asking 8 questions of our Board of Education candidates that have been submitted by our district's community members. And if we do have some extra time, we have 2 extra questions, so we'll do those too. As our PTSA co-presidents mentioned, all questions were provided to our candidates over this past weekend to review prior to tonight's forum. So candidates, you will have 1 to 1.5 minutes to respond to each question. You'll receive a 30-second warning and a signal from our timekeeper when your allotted time has expired. And speaking of time, I'd like to introduce our timekeepers. They're important people tonight to keep all of us on time and on track. How about this, guys? You're in charge. So I'd like to welcome Webster student volunteers Allie Peterson from Willink Middle School and also Sawyer Peters from, you're from Spry Middle School, Sawyer. So thank you for your help this evening. And I also want to take a minute to acknowledge and thank our student volunteers, again, who will be asking all of the questions. Welcome and thank you to Maddie Marcus, Griffin Peters, and Zach Peterson, all from Webster Schrader High School. And then we also have Tessa Grace and Catherine Peterson here representing Webster Thomas High School. Thank you all for being here and participating in such an important evening for our school community. Candidates, just a reminder that I'd respectfully ask you to adhere to time limits so we can get to all of the questions our community would like to ask of you. And also just a reminder not to respond to other candidates' answers, but rather provide your own individual answers to questions. And finally, our students will be rotating the order in which candidates get to answer questions, so each of you will get to go first at least once. With all of that said, Janice Garrett is going to get us started this evening with her opening statement when our timekeepers are ready. Do you have it set at 2 minutes there? Okay, go ahead, Janice.
My name is Janice Garrett. I am a Webster Schrader graduate, class of '98, a mother of 2 kids in the district, and an educator for the last 17 years. I would be proud to serve the Webster community that has given myself and my children great pride to live in. I am a strong advocate for students and teachers, and I plan to bring a higher level of fiscal responsibility and transparency for all community stakeholders. My main motivation for running is my children and my nieces and nephews who attend multiple schools within the district. As a teacher, I am aware of the current challenges we face in our classroom today. It is my goal to make sure that all of the voices of our stakeholders are heard. It is my hope that my unique perspective and knowledge of current educational issues will help the board as it moves forward together in a positive direction. It is also my hope that my voice provides stronger accountability for the district.
Thank you. And Linda D Guardi, any timekeepers? Go ahead, Linda.
My name is Linda D Guardi, and it is my extreme honor to serve on the Webster Board of Education and to put my name forward for re-election. I have almost 4 years of experience on the board. I represent the Board of Education on several district committees and also represent Webster in the Monroe County School Boards Association, serving on the Labor Relations Committee for the last 2 years and on Information Exchange for 1. I'm asking for your support so I may continue to be a strong voice and advocate for our district. I serve on the board for only one reason, and that is to ensure that our children receive the best education possible. I believe that given the right educational foundation, one that we have here in Webster, which consists of a safe and well-equipped school buildings, excellent caring teachers and staff, will all help children achieve success. It is our job to prepare our children for the future, and it is one I support enthusiastically. I'm committed to doing what is right for all students and will continue to work effectively and cooperatively with all to assure our students come first. I love Webster. I graduated from Webster and I received an incredible education here. It is very important for me, as a mom of 2 students, that the Webster schools continue to be excellent. I truly believe that our Webster school community has some of its most rewarding days ahead of it. It would be an honor for me to have the opportunity to continue to work collaboratively with the Board of Education, the students, the staff, and the community. Thank you.
And Nicholas Ostrowski.
My name is Nick Ostrowski. I have education from Bishop Kearney, Knight University, and MCC. I have 3 children in the district. 3 characteristics or qualities that I'd like to bring to the board are transparency, accountability, and fiscal responsibility. That's really everything I have to say. I'm ready for the questions.
Okay. And Ida Mara.
Hi, my name is Ida Mara. I was a teacher in Webster for 17 years, a resident of Webster for almost 24 years. A little bit about what I did when I was in Webster. I was on the RWTA Union Executive Rep Council Board. I was the policy board member in the Webster Professional Development Center. I was a class advisor. I was an FBLA advisor. I was on the Strategic Planning Committee for the district, as well as the Mission and Vision Statement Committee. I hold a bachelor's in marketing management. I have a master's in business and distributive education and a master's in educational leadership. I am also the zone leader for the Work-Based Learning Coordinators Association and also sit on their policy board for New York State for the WECA, which is the Work Experience Coordinators Association, as their membership chair. I have 2 kids in the district, both one just graduated college and one is currently in her last year at RIT. Thank you.
Next up is Maria Virgili.
Thank you all for being here tonight and for inviting us to share this forum with you. Webster has been my home for 44 years. My 3 children graduated from Webster, and I have 2 grandchildren who will be attending school in Webster as well in the near future. After my extremely motivating, inspiring, and rewarding teaching experiences at DeWitt Road Elementary School and at Willink Middle School for a combined total of 23 years, I retired from the district in 2013. Working with and facilitating my students' learning was my passion. It was never a job. Now serving the Webster students, staff, and community as a Board of Education member has become a new passion for me. I would like to continue to serve on the board to give back to our community. I passionately believe in the mission statement, core values, and essential skills of our school district. Webster is and continues to be a pioneer of innovative education, collaboration, connectivity, and dedication to our children, our staff, and our entire community. For me, the most important drive to continue to serve as a board member is our students. They are the future, and we need to provide them with the very best we have to offer professionally, mentally, socially, emotionally, and personally. As a community, we all need to work together as a team with the task of helping our kids be successful and productive human beings, not just when they graduate, but throughout their school careers and into their adult lives. It takes an entire school community to help children achieve personal, educational, and professional success. As a Board of Education member, I will continue to dedicate myself to helping Webster flourish in every way and to help provide the very best educational journey for our students. Thank you.
And Tammy Jurasky.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here, and thank you to PTSA for hosting this event. I've just completed my first term and realized there's so much more to learn. 3 years is a short amount of time to encompass all that board members are responsible for, all the information that's out there, and all the challenges that face public education. There are many different opinions about public education, but I believe it is one of the greatest institutions we have in this country. I think it should be safeguarded for the benefit of all of our children, and I believe I'm fair and unbiased and truly enjoy this important work. I feel fortunate to be part of this current board. We work well together, and our diversity allows for well thought out and informed discussions. The stability of a Board of Education is instrumental to the public it serves, and this sentiment has been echoed in many circles. I'm humbled by the honor of serving and truly feel our district is strong and filled with many dedicated people who also understand the importance of our collective mission and vision. Before joining the Board of Education, I volunteered for over 20 years with PTSA in every school my children attended as president of PTSA, and you can probably name a committee, and I was on it. I've seen firsthand how accessible and how important it is to be part and be visible in a community. I've also seen firsthand how the education my 3 adult children have received has really enabled them to take on, they have extraordinary careers and they're doing very well, and I can see and feel some of the values and lessons that they've learned here in Webster and hope to continue that great work. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Now we're going to move into our question and answer period. So candidates, just remember to keep your eye on the timekeepers. Timekeepers, remember there's a maximum of 1.5 minutes for this set of questions. And we're going to ask Maddie Marcus to come up and ask our first community question. So come on up, Maddie. And we're going to start with Janice Garrett.
Okay. How will you be accessible and present to Webster families?
Accessibility comes in many forms. Visibility in the schools, at school events, PTSA meetings, board meetings, I think are the most obvious and relevant ones. But accessibility also comes from taking time to listen to community members, contemplating and researching the issue at hand, and responding genuinely and promptly. Accessibility is more than just posing for pictures. It's listening to the community members, teachers, administrators, bus drivers, teaching assistants, office staff, parents, everybody, and making sure all voices are heard and understood and valued. When a community member reaches out for information, support, or with a concern, I will absolutely give them my undivided attention and try to assist them to the best of my ability. This is where a little bit can really go a long way in a community.
And Linda.
Being accessible to Webster residents and families is being present at as many school events as possible. With my children still in the district, I have the pleasure of volunteering at Schrader and Spry and getting to go to many sporting events, musical concerts, and whatnot. I also volunteer in the building where my children did attend at Plank South. Being accessible also is being at PTSA meetings. Each one of the board members is a liaison to at least one school in the district. With that responsibility, it's not only going to the meetings, it's going to the events, it's visiting in the school, it's talking with the kids, it's talking with staff members, making those connections. This year, the Board of Education also initiated learning walks. We visited all 11 buildings. We saw transportation, we saw safety, buildings and grounds, nursing, food service. We even took a tour of Monroe 1 BOCES. Those are events that I won't forget anytime soon. It was very powerful. So being accessible is being around and being seen.
And Nick.
Accessibility should not be a problem. The district actually gave out my phone number, so you all have it now. Email, I'm very good at communicating through email, as many of the current board members will attest to. I'm also part of 2 different Facebook groups that deal with different issues that our families are dealing with currently within the district. I feel that I do a pretty good job of addressing parents and grandparents' concerns, usually pretty quickly. I am also at a lot of school events. Like I said, I have 3 kids. Currently, they're all at Clem South, so I attend most of the events there. Next year, we are branching out to Willing, so I'll be around Willing quite a bit as well. And then through my volunteer coaching between Webster Lacrosse, and I've been a volunteer coach with Lakefront Soccer, where most of our community members do also partake. So I am very accessible.
And next up is Ida.
I, along with being available or attending events, it's being present and responding to emails in a timely manner. It is being transparent in all the decisions and how you feel about them and why you feel certain ways about certain decisions. Answering questions from the community, and really basically making sure that we are continuing to offer excellent services and programs for our students while keeping expenditures under control and being very transparent about that. Thank you.
And Maria.
Making connections with parents, students, school district personnel, the superintendent, school board is crucial to cultivating relationships that lend themselves to positive and productive communication. But this takes a lot of time, effort, patience, and persistence, and it's an endeavor that should never have any end. Building trust with all stakeholders is crucial. Being approachable will help make families feel more comfortable to share ideas. Listening more than speaking when engaging families and community members in conversation will help them feel more valued. Attending community and district events in order to be present to students and their families increases contact. Using technology, including social media, is one way of reaching more families so that they are aware of invitations to participate in district events, discussions, and meetings, and to ask questions or express concerns. I plan, if elected, to encourage students, parents, and community members to attend district presentations, join committees to help make their voices heard, which allows us to keep the door open to everyone's involvement.
And Tammy.
As current board members, we are visible at our board meetings by phone and by email. We are present at PTSA meetings as liaisons and take the time to show up at every building and make sure the parents are heard. I believe it's very important to support PTSA as the main vehicle for communication because they have the best and have reached out and instituted so many programs that our kids and our parents are in need of. We live in very complicated times, and to understand stress and perfectionism and vaping and all the things that our students are confronted with, PTSA is the partner to the district that really makes it easy and accessible for parents to be part of that. As Linda mentioned, we were on learning walks where we were in all 14 facilities. We got to see all of our initiatives in action, such as kindergartners doing mindfulness, restorative classroom, responsive classroom, where teachers can immediately respond to a child and make sure that they're engaged and ready to learn. We attend performances. We've been present with students at forums to talk about technology. We've attended numerous events, and it's through that lens that we're able to see how our kids really engage and how we can make an impact. And it's always those connections that are at the foundation. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Maddie is ready for her second question, and we'll start this time with Linda. So go ahead.
Why are you running, and why do you want to be on the Board of Education?
I serve on the board, like I said, for only one reason, and that is to ensure that our kids receive the best education possible. I believe that our students are our community's most valuable asset, and our educators are our most valuable resource. I want every student to be successful and to be given every opportunity to thrive. I believe that successful schools build strong communities. Education is a priority for me, and I recognize that we are fortunate to live in a community where education is paramount. But each year, school districts face tough decisions on how to allocate resources. With increased unfunded and underfunded mandates, providing for our children gets more difficult. I want to be part of that solution. I want to help in any way I can, and I want to give back to the community that I truly love.
And Nick.
I am running because of some changes that I've seen in our district over the past, honestly, only probably 5 or 6 months. When you call the district or email the district or even board members with questions and you don't get answers. When you feel as though you don't have an idea of what's going on because you were told you missed it, that's the transparency, but yet later confirmed that the district dropped the ball. Fiscal responsibility, there's questions that we should all be asking as our taxes are going up and we're not getting those answers. I think that I'm one of those people that can help make those changes because I think that our families deserve it.
And next up, Ida.
Being a teacher in the district for 17 years, I've had the opportunity to see that areas that we can improve. We can always do better. We can do better, and I just want to be part of that change to do better. I also would like to see an increase in board members attending buildings and more visibility there. Didn't see a whole lot of that being in the district, so that would be one of the goals of mine to have that. But just being part of driving that change.
And Maria.
My 30 years of teaching here in Webster and Webster Undercourt High School as a middle school, elementary school, and a high school teacher enabled me to embrace and understand the K-12 journey. As a longtime resident, I am invested in our community, have strong ties to many community members, and I want to continue to serve our students and staff in any capacity that I can. I have only been an appointed member of the board for 8 months, and I have learned a great deal, and there's just still so much to learn. Most of all, I am enjoying reinforcing connections and establishing new connections with our community. I want to give back to the Webster students, parents, and staff in an open and selfless way. Serving and supporting our school district will enable me to continue to help make a difference in the quality of education of our district. Thank you.
Tammy.
I'm committed to public education and worked in many different ways over 20 years to support this. It started with the Campaign for Fiscal Equity when the state actually went broke after reaching a decision after an 8-year Supreme Court battle where the appeal was finally upheld, and then, as we all know, in 2008, the bottom fell out, and the state hasn't been able to adequately fund education. I think that that's something that we can't lose track of. We have to always stand up for public education. It is the most transparent level of our democracy. We have more influence at this level than we do in any other facet of our democracy. And making sure that our kids receive the education that they're entitled to should be something that we're all invested in. Thank you.
And finally, Janice.
As a Webster graduate, I would be proud to give back to the district that gave me the tools and ambition that I needed to find a successful career path that I truly love and enjoy. I have children, nieces, and nephews, like I said, and family in almost every building in the district, and I would be proud to represent them all. As an educator, I want to advocate for teachers and student learning and make sure that the children truly are at the heart of every decision that we make. And again, that all voices are heard. I also have one of the greatest role models in my own mother, who showed me how much one person truly can make a difference, even with kindergarten. I have been looking for ways to expand my strengths, knowledge, and expertise. Giving back to my community is just a bonus on top of these things, and I'd like to encourage more involvement between the community and the board.
Thank you. Now I'm going to invite Griffin Peters to come on up from Schrader High School. Griffin, you're going to ask the third question, and we're going to start with Mr. Ostrowski. So go ahead.
In regards to academic and curriculum here in Webster, where do they excel? What are the strengths? What would you seek to improve? Why and how strongly do you hold this view?
A few of the strengths that I see is when we started the full day kindergarten. And I think that is great for the younger kids. It keeps them motivated, keeps them learning. We'll see what happens next year because it'll be a transition for young bodies and young minds. The LAC, the literacy across curriculum, I will know more about that next year, like I said, once again, when my daughter gets into Willink, but I'm hearing great things about it, as well as the AP program. But I do wish that those college credits would carry over a little bit more than they do. Improvements needed. The overall school ranking has been on a steady decline since 2015. I think we need to figure out why, excuse me, why, address the issues, and get us back to where we were right around the 2014-2015 year. And then one other thing is aiding in the placement of children with disabilities while being considerate to their right to learn in a gen ed environment. I've heard a couple of stories from some parents that have reached out recently where I don't want to say we're insensitive as a district, but possibly could be perceived that way. So if we could work with those families a little bit more, I'm sure that they would appreciate that.
Item Mara.
Where we excel is the offering that we offer a variety of courses and programs for students, including the EA program, which is Young Entrepreneur Academy program, where students actually obtain funding to start their own businesses. And we obtain funding from local businesses. AP courses are huge in all the programs for the little kids. Mandating financial literacy was huge in the district. That took quite a few years to get that, and we were excited that actually happened because it's great for students to exit high school with some knowledge of some financial knowledge. Piggyback what Nick said about improving, we do have a downward trend for the past 3 or 4 years. That we have gone from a ranking of 213 in 2017 to 286 in 2018. And that was from School Digger, which is information from a New York State website. And we know test scores are not the be-all, end-all, but they are a good snapshot of where the district is performing. So we need to find out why. Like to ask current, board members at some point, are they concerned about that? Why do they think that is actually happening? And also, the last thing is really just to find alternatives for early release and late arrival. There's got to be something that these kids could do staying in school, especially with our downward trend that we're experiencing. So we need to look at other districts and other options.
Maria.
Webster does a great job of focusing on instruction for the whole child. It prepares them to be 21st century global citizens. Webster is often ahead of the curve with curricular changes and pedagogy. I would like to see us continue and add new programs and enhance current programs. We should never stop seeking to improve in all areas. We have to be continually improving, because when we try to stop making things better, then we begin to stagnate. Thank you.
And Tammy Gradski.
We use our strategic planning survey to gauge strengths and weaknesses, and those metrics inform how we allocate resources, if there are areas that are in need of improvement or areas where we excel. The other very important piece that we have to look forward to is the passage of 2 capital improvement projects, which will transform our learning spaces for most all of our students. We know as 21st century learners, their learning needs to take place in a more project-based environment. The facilities will allow for that. We're very excited for the opportunities that's going to bring to them. And also expanding on the social and emotional well-being of our kids. We know through these surveys that that's a big area in need of improvement and attention. And to the extent that we support our staff and our teachers in knowing that, so that they can model self-care too and know that they're in a supported district, that's very important so that everyone who's part of this district feels valued and cared for. Thank you.
And Janice.
We offer a great variety of AP programs, the new School to Work program, Geotech. I also hear teachers utilizing the PLC and Flip Time to really work together because they are the experts and helping each other is amazing. What I'd like to see more of is some hands-on support for enrichment opportunities, especially at the elementary level. Enrichment specialists helping teachers and assisting hands-on in the classroom, classrooms that already have high sizes and a varied level of need. So teachers they're working hard to meet all the needs of the kids within their classroom, but I really feel like some more hands-on opportunities with an enrichment specialist will be very beneficial for everyone.
And Linda.
With a graduation rate of nearly 96%, we have a lot to be proud of. Webster offers more than 20 AP courses, which is almost probably the most out of the district or out of Monroe County. We also offer dual credit courses. We have an incredible fine arts program, and our music department has been honored for 14 years straight as one of the best communities for music. Our geo department continues to increase in size. The students work on projects that are seen throughout the district, and with our capital project, the workspace at Thomas will be increased so that it can hold the growing program. What I would improve, I'd keep improving everything. Even if we're good, we need to be great. We need always to be better. Continuous improvement should be our goal.
Thank you. And now, Griffin, you're going to ask the fourth question, and we'll start with Ida Mara on this one. Go ahead.
Currently, the Board of Education is studying homework in our district. What are your thoughts on giving homework over breaks or holidays? Could we have appropriate times like these to be allowed for kids to be kids and blow off steam?
Homework is needed. Teachers need to determine if kids are actually learning, so that's fine. It also teaches independent college readiness. So when kids, either whether they go to school or not, or continue on to college or not, they know how to study and work independently. Giving excessive homework over breaks and holidays, I don't think is beneficial to families. Families need to be families at some point, and kids need to be kids. However, if a parent, I feel, would like their student to have not excessive homework, but homework, then it's up to them to ask the teacher for some resources that should be available through the teachers.
And Maria.
The purpose of homework is to review, practice, reinforce, and enrich concepts that were learned in class. When I was teaching, I always gave homework over the vacations. I say homework as an extra credit opportunity, which many kids did take advantage of, thereby making it voluntary. And it's a topic that the board has been reviewing, but it currently is at the discretion of the teachers how and when to assign homework.
And Tammy.
To say we're studying homework is accurate. To say we have guidelines or policy is premature. We haven't engaged in full discussion with all stakeholders. That means parents, teachers, and students. So we're just learning about what does that mean. What is the effect of start time on this change? What is the effect of changing curriculum? And what is the effect of stress? Our kids report feeling very stressed, and we want to strike a balance between what makes sense in the classroom and what makes sense at home. It's my opinion that that's the teacher's discretion. It depends on the student. It depends on the course. It depends on the workload of the course. And what's the expected outcome? If it's an AP course, I'm sure we can all agree you're going to have a higher homework level. So striking that balance in a way that makes sense for all of the community is where we're trying to get. And by researching and engaging everyone in a conversation, that's how we hope to arrive there.
Janice.
Children and adolescents absolutely need time to play, relax, spend with families, excel in sports, extracurricular, whatever their interests are. Kind of like Ida said, some homework is necessary for those independent thinking skills, self-motivation, and so on. But homework should also have a clear purpose. As a reading teacher, encouraging lifelong readers is a passion of mine. So reading is always encouraged at home, whether you're reading with a sibling, a pet, a parent, any family member. I always encourage that kind of example and that kind of homework per se at home, but just to encourage that lifelong love of reading because it's there and it'll be there our whole lives.
Linda.
I believe that homework reinforces learning, and it also helps to develop good study habits and some life skills. It also gives parents an opportunity to be involved in their child's learning, but too much homework can be stressful. It reduces playtime, and it can just be interpreted as busy work. I believe that learning has its place. I remember when my kids were children, the best part of the night was sitting with them, reading their books for 20 minutes. I think it's important, those bonding moments. But meaningful homework does add value, but I think it's a question that we have to look into further.
And Nick.
Some of the information was not 100% accurate, actually, that you just received. We do actually have a school in our district that has a no homework policy. So for that, I'm totally against. Homework is needed. It's good for the kids. It helps reinforce what they've learned. It helps teach the kids time management. Even at a young age of being, 4th, 5th grade, these kids are developing friendships, they're developing schedules of their own, activities that they have. It will also help the kids prioritize school, maybe versus sports or even social lives. As far as over breaks and vacations, I do think it's a good idea to have some to keep them engaged while they're away from school and classes. On that note, we do have a lot of breaks, so a little bit of homework would not be a bad thing.
Thank you. We're going to bring up now Zach Peterson from Schrader High School. He's going to ask questions 5 and 6 of the candidates. And Zach, we're going to start this round with Maria Virgili. Go ahead.
Identify one of the current challenges facing NYS education and/or the WCSD and share your thoughts on what you would like to see or do to address this if elected.
For me, the number one challenge that our district, our state, and actually our country is facing is the social emotional health of today's youth. Social, emotional, and/or behavioral challenges can impact students' chances for educational success and engaging in healthy relationships. Depression, anxiety, trauma can lead to mental illness, which could manifest itself in many negative ways. If kids are not in a good emotional place, they will not be able to concentrate and engage in learning. This issue is one that has a very high priority for me personally. Another challenge that piggybacks on this is more support staff in the same area. Teachers are not just teachers anymore. In order to help their students, they need to wear the hats of social workers, therapists, guardians, and sometimes even nurses. I plan to advocate for more staffing as the budget allows, more professional development, and more community awareness. Thank you.
Tammy.
I continue to see funding is a real threat to public education, and Webster, because we do so well with what we have, unfunded mandates and funding streams being combined, state aid revenue sources being combined, means that we're forced to do more with less, and we do. But it doesn't mean that we are getting all that we're entitled to. So to the extent that we can work along with the town, because they too are not receiving the state aid that they need and require to do the job that they need to do, that strengthens our collective voice. If you follow funding across Monroe County, we are typically the lowest third in receiving that. So I think we always need to advocate. We always need to share our collective voice toward making that better for the entire community.
Janice.
I believe that the right to a free and appropriate education is an issue today. I've spoken with parents who are concerned over the amount of effort it takes to get their children the services they need to adhere to this right. Parents who have had to seek outside consultation to build a case and fight for their child's education. Staff are also advocating on behalf of the parents and the children, and I think we need to take a closer look at this. Parents and staff are advocating for services, enrichment, and supports for the needs of children, and I'd like to learn to find a better way to best support them. We never want to put a child in an environment that prohibits their ability, and we want to work with parents and work with educators.
Linda.
I believe a very big challenge facing education is mental health and how mental illness affects school performance. It's nearly impossible to not either be personally impacted or to at least know someone that is impacted. The increase in anxiety is real and it's scary. The lack of resilience within our youth is also real and thankfully a focus for Webster. Professional development opportunities were offered this year for teachers, and there were several community forums that spoke of the issue. We need to continue to teach coping skills to our students, and we need to continue to be purposeful and create experiences for students to develop resilience. We also need to be mindful of our staff and their needs because they are also having to do so much more than just teach lessons. We need to also continue to make sure that parents feel welcome and they are also part of our community.
And Nick?
An issue that I would say, focusing squarely on Webster, is the time change that we're facing next year. While I do think it is a great opportunity for our older students to gain a little bit of rest, I just don't feel that it was given due diligence with the younger students at mind. I'd like to see an apples-to-apples comparison, maybe some research, which we know is available. There's too many questions with that. There's questions with the Wonder Care still. There's a lot of parents that don't have answers. That's creeping up way too quick for a lot of families that need to plan ahead. Solutions would be to look at the research and evaluate to see what's best for our students. Maybe have a study group with elementary school parents, and not 10 or 20, but a substantial number, maybe 100, and evaluate on 3-month intervals to see how their children are doing, how their social lives are going, how they're eating, how they're sleeping, what their grades look like. And granted, it's kindergarten, but those things are still measurable in our children. So that's where I would probably focus locally.
And Ida?
A challenge, I agree with some others about mental health. We are getting the students much too late, they're being undiagnosed. I see that we should expand our pre-K program because it has shown to be very beneficial, so we can identify the students earlier. We should enhance our mindfulness program to see to include mental health in that, and also look at other districts. I know they're doing some wonderful things, so we need to visit other schools, other districts, and see what they are doing. And what other programs they are offering to address mental illness, because it's everyone's problem.
All right, now we have our 6th question, and you're going to start, Zach, with Tammy Gradski.
What is your position on the use of technology in the education of our children, iPads, Chromebooks, smartboards, and the current district policies? Is there anything you would change?
In a word, I would define that as balance. Our recent technology workshop with a few incredibly honest students here at Schrader showed us that they definitely know what's going on. It is parents who maybe need to learn a little bit more. I don't know if anyone knows there's an app on your cell phone that can tell you how much screen time you've used in a day. And that carries over into other areas. We know that it's all related. We know that sleep is correlated to homework, is correlated to achievement, is correlated to stress. So to the extent that we investigate all these areas under the entire umbrella of mental health, helps us understand and where to allocate resources so that we can help our students achieve better. PTSA's ability to host programs has been tremendous. And there's been 2 panels just in the past year and a half that are hosted by students. And that's really probably where I learned the most. They are very informative, and they really understand how they use technology and the importance of it in their lives. So striking that balance between how we can help them and coach them helps us all achieve better.
And Janice?
The great thing about the technology initiative is that it levels the playing field for all. Each student has access, and teachers can reach students at a greater level and utilize the latest technology to boost classroom learning. Wi-Fi capability may need to be increased because when students have both cell phones and Chromebooks on Wi-Fi, they run into connection and speed issues. And by going one-to-one all in one year, you run into all of the Chromebooks aging at the same pace. It would be nice also to see instructional specialists really supporting teachers in the classroom on integrating that technology and more advanced technology like Nearpod and Flipped Classroom. and possibly just helping some of the adults and teachers who aren't quite as tech savvy as others learn even some of the basics at a quicker pace. I know some surveys have been taken place. It would be nice for the community to see some of the results of that and how this initiative really has benefited and affected our students. The Dell boards are also a great tool that also offers, a large variety of engaging learning.
Linda.
Technology used as a tool for learning is very powerful. With digital media becoming more and more prevalent in our child's lives, we need to work together to help this next generation thrive and grow. I do not believe that technology can ever or will ever take the place of a great teacher. It is just used as an enhancement. This year, there were more professional development opportunities for staff, and there were several community forums on digital citizenship. The tech department is great at sending out newsletters that are attached to our school newsletter, and they also continue to educate our students on this subject through assemblies and in classroom discussions. This is a very unfamiliar road, and as a parent, it terrifies me. My kids know more than I do. I have to make it my job to make sure that I take every opportunity to learn all that I can about technology. It's wonderful that the district has partnered with Common Sense Media to provide resources and guide the district with digital citizenship. The Digital Life Survey was completed this past fall, and the information collected will be used to develop programs and content for our students and community.
And Nick.
I think that the use of the iPads and the Chromebooks, the smart boards, I believe is a very valuable tool for the kids while they're at school. One thing that I would look to improve upon is I believe East Irondequoit, they actually allow their students to take them home. And for some of the younger kids, I believe K through 5, they leave their iPads at school. Allowing the child to take it home gives them an opportunity to still use it to learn at the end of the day. Some of the apps that they use, like Raz Kids, reading math apps, Math Prodigy, because if a child doesn't have the financial, or the parents don't have the financial means to buy the student the iPad for home, the other kids may have that slightly unfair advantage just because the parents aren't in a better financial situation. So I'd like to see the kids be able to take the appliance home.
And Ida.
The one-on-one initiative was a great program for students, so they were provided with technology. It's great that high school students are able to work in help centers, assisting if there's Chromebook issues that happen during the day. That's all great. I just think it's underutilized. I'm thinking kids, the students that are in those help centers should go into the classrooms where teachers need help or would like to know more, and actually teach how to integrate this technology into the classroom, into their coursework. I've heard, contrary to what was mentioned about PD offerings, I've heard from staff that there was a limited amount of PD offerings regarding integrating technology into the classroom. I know there's a few staff members in the district that actually have masters in technology, and they haven't been approached to offer or to assist in integrating technology into the classroom. I also like to know is where's the data that it's actually improving student learning. And it just seems like there isn't a systematic examination and if it is working. Those are my concerns.
And finally, Maria.
Using technology definitely does enhance instruction, but there needs to be a balance of student use of technology so that social development isn't impeded. While technology improves and increases student engagement by the use of review, assessments, surveys, polls, which provide immediate results for both the teachers and the student, it can also create a distraction by impacting social interactions. The district is being very proactive by teaching digital citizenship skills to our students and offering presentations to parents and as well as teachers. Our students need to be prepared for the future, which includes the proper use of technology, and we need to help them take ownership and responsibility for its use.
Thank you. Now I'm going to ask Tessa Grace, a sophomore at Thomas High School, to come on up. And Tessa's going to be asking the next two questions. And Tessa, you're going to begin with question 7 to Janice Garrett. So go ahead.
In regards to social emotional learning in our schools and the fact that we have only limited knowledge of a child's exposure to adverse childhood experiences, the Center for Cost-Benefit Analysis of Public Policy has determined that on average, For every $1 school spends on prevention programs in K through 2, they save $11 to $18 on reactive programs. What would you do to ensure that we are addressing social emotional learning in grades K through 2 in a meaningful way beyond what is already in place?
So a great example would be the G2 Creating Intergenerational Relationship Program. It's a free program that brings seniors from the community into kindergarten classrooms and pairs them up with students to build relationships, read, focus on life skills, and incorporate the community into the school. I've also heard a lot about social emotional and connecting the community from the other members of the panel. And a great way to do that would be to offer some assistance from the town, perhaps, on a family support center. I know the district has come out to Greece and visited our family support center. The family support center offers free counseling after school. It's confidential, it's at no cost to them, and it supports the whole family. ACEs is about the whole family as well. So we need to address the whole child, the whole family, and the whole picture when it comes to ACEs. And I really think if the town and the school has already started collaborating on ball fields and outdoor classrooms, this would really be a great opportunity to encompass all the mental health we've talked about and support the entire family in the community. We are one Webster.
And Linda.
Mental illness impacts school performance, and it reduces the quality of life. Children need hope, and Webster recognizes the importance of addressing mental health issues, not just for academic purposes, but for the overall health and wellness of our students. Next year, the district will be hiring 4 more full-time mental health professionals, and they will also be continuing to offer staff professional development in this area. We need to continue to integrate teaching social emotional skills throughout every day, and they need to be embedded in all that we do. The Responsive Classroom program, which is being used, focuses on our essential skills in our PBS program, which are our foundation. I also believe that we need to continue to engage families and offer support to them. By partnering with the PTSA, we have been able to bring in programs to address some of the issues that our families have faced.
And Nick.
To address the issue, we could use our technology that we just discussed. There are several apps, such as Care Starter, Youper, Wisdom, that we could use for children to help deal with some of their anxiety and stress. Other tools we might be able to use are music, exercise, pet therapy. But instead of trying to deal with it reactively, to be proactive, we could invest in more programs throughout our school. Linda did say we're hiring more teachers or counselors. That is a great first step. But we could also invest more in our greatest resource, our teachers. They are the people that are going to see our children more than the parents every day. So for them to be exposed and see the signs would probably be a good investment.
Ida.
Again, it's expanding our pre-K program and looking further into that so we can diagnose the kids early. We need to see what other districts are doing. As Janice mentioned, Grace sounds like a great program there to address their ACEs, their adverse childhood experiences like poverty, not coming to school, divorce, all those other experiences. And then we need to be consistent in all buildings and offer the same programs. I was finding that some buildings were offering some things and other buildings weren't. So just being consistent with across all buildings in the district.
And Maria.
The district is hiring, with the budget this year, more support staff, and every building, every grade level needs to have additional support staff because this is not something that's not going to go away. There are more and more children that are coming into our schools that are traumatized, that have PTSD, and talking about it, evaluating them is one thing, but actually doing something for them in a constructive way is the only thing that's going to save them, our kids. I would like to see even more support added at all grade levels, not just K-2, but K-12, but it certainly should start with even our pre-K programs. And we should never stop addressing this problem because I don't see it going away in the near future, and it's probably just going to get worse.
And finally, Tammy.
excuse me, our district has been a leader in adult brain research development, along with Dr. Mendoza and Dr. Allen Ginsberg, and have held many forums working across and through BOCES so that the conversations that we have are across the county. That really enables Webster to be able to have very constructive relationships and share resources. Locally, Webster Health and Education Network has been around for at least 15 years, and they are an excellent resource for programming, for alerting kids, for getting kids involved, and for creating those partnerships between the town and the district that we know are so beneficial. The Youth Risk Survey tells and informs areas of need. So there's a parent version and there's a student version, and many times those two don't coincide with the same information. So that informs teachers and staff and counselors about what they need to be aware of, what they're seeing in the schools, and how they can better respond to meet the kids' needs.
Okay. And Tessa has our 8th question to Linda D Guardi to begin.
What particular skills or experience qualify you to serve as a school board member, and can you speak to the time you will be able to commit to the role if elected?
I've been a member of the board since 2015, and the experience I've gained gives me a solid foundation of school government. Volunteering in my children's current schools and their former schools offers me that unique hands-on perspective. I continue to be an active PTSA member, and I volunteer as often as I can. I've worked with many Webster teachers, many students, and families, which all started when my oldest daughter went to kindergarten at Plank South. I began as a room mom. I led the PTSA for a number of years, and then I was elected to the board. Being a member of this board is my full-time job. It is that important to me that our schools provide this excellent educational opportunity, not just for my kids, but for all kids in our district. I feel that a strong board should be made up of people from diverse professional backgrounds so that there is a broader perspective being represented. I'm the parent voice, and I'm also a social worker. I'm a thoughtful listener, and I collaborate well with others, and I'll continue to dedicate the time necessary to support our students, our staff, and our teachers.
Nick.
As a parent of 3 kids, that kind of qualifies me to give a little knowledge to kids these days. As we've already mentioned before, the technology today has changed these kids so much that kids from even 10, 15 years ago aren't the same as they are now. So having a senior in high school that maybe didn't even have an iPad then, it's totally different. These kids are born and raised with the technology. And to say, I'm a parent, my kid's in college, it's great, but the kids that are here now, they need parents, I think, on the board because they are understood better by parents. Studies are fantastic. My life is a study, 24/7. So I think it's my life experience with kids is helpful. And work-wise, 20 years in commercial construction could come in handy with the ongoing capital improvement project with interpretation and deadlines and whatnot.
Ida.
17 years in the district, 20 years in education, on several committees and several boards. I would be committed to actively be engaged in participating in all board activities in the community and in schools. I would be honored to be part of the Board of Education in Webster and to give back. Thank you.
And Maria.
My experience as a parent, a single parent of 3 successful adult children, as an educator at all 3 levels, elementary, middle, and high school. I was a Webster Teachers Association representative, vice president, and then co-president of the same association, and now Board of Education member, and as a volunteer in schools. And before I started working after my children were born, enabled me to bring many viewpoints to any conversation and/or discussion. And if I don't know something, I always do my homework and try to find out more about the issue at hand. I closely and carefully listen to all that is said, internalize the information, ask questions, and advocate for what is right and just all the time. It's about students, it's about teachers, it's about Webster Central School District staff and the entire Webster community. I have and I vow to continue to dedicate as much time as is needed to the Board of Education, which in turn is time dedicated to students, staff, and our community. Thank you.
Tammy.
I think having raised 3 kids in this district has given me a very particular lens to look through and see the benefit of what they've learned and how they've been able to grow their own careers and their own personhood. Being able to be independent, being able to share the skills that we know are the skills that are needed in the job market to be created. At the last conference we attended, one of the SHRM Society for Health and Resource Management talked about the kids' ability to be able to solve problems, to be able to speak and write and take responsibility, to be accountable for their problems. And they're not seeing that in the workforce. So to work on those soft skills, the project-based learning, are things that we know have very real value for our kids, using technology to do that, doing so in facilities that accommodate their learning. I've been very, very blessed to be part of this district for many, over 24 years. And I think it's really important to give back. I think it's really important to recognize what you've been given and then realize ways that you can share that. So I look forward to continuing to do that. Thank you.
And finally, Janice.
I have a strong voice and a background in education that allows me to ask the right questions, seek out reliable sources for information, and make an informed decision and ultimately stand by that decision. Sometimes you need to have difficult conversations with people you work with, but you get the work done and you can smile and be proud afterward. It's not always about being agreeable, but you should work as a team and make sure that every voice on your team is heard. I'm a team player. I also have amazing family support that allows me the freedom to both be there for my children at home and my children and students in Greece, and hopefully the children of Webster if I'm elected. It takes a community, and I love my community. We are the greatest community, and I've been proud to be a part of it for the last 32 years. And I'd be happy to dedicate my time.
Thank you. And I mentioned earlier on that we had 8 questions, and depending on how we were going to do on time, we had 2 extras. And guess what, candidates? Bonus round. Actually, I'm going to ask Catherine Peterson up if she wouldn't mind. I think we have time for probably another question and then closing statements. Catherine's a sophomore at Webster Thomas. And Catherine, you're going to begin the 9th question to Mr. Ostrowski.
What do you see as the Board of Education's role and responsibilities?
The initial role of the board is to hire, manage, and supervise the superintendent. Keep him neutral if needed, but overall manage and supervise. To me, more importantly, a board member is a representative for the community. It's an active, an active listener for the community to try to interpret what they need, what they want, and make it happen if feasible. They are a member of a well-informed team. The team itself, being the board, should also be able to communicate freely, openly, without fear of reprisal, maybe is the best word. Maybe not, but communication's big.
Oh, excuse me. And Ida.
So this is actually taken from the Monroe County School Boards Association presentation that I attended. Basically, it's selecting the superintendent, supervises the superintendent, not individual teachers, administrators, or coaches, adopts policies, budgets, and goals, communicating with the community, asks questions directly to the superintendent, who in turn gathers information and provides a response. Just want to add on to that, superintendent's responsibilities is to hire staff, implement goals, objectives, and policies.
And Maria.
Keeping a focus on what is best for all students by emphasizing student achievement and implementing policies that will ensure academic, emotional, and social success for all students. having a clear vision for the district, setting the vision and goals, and measuring the success of the district and superintendent against the goals. Clear and transparent communication with the community and keeping the community informed of the district's progress and challenges. Working as a team with open, honest collaboration and respect with other board members, the superintendent, administration, staff, and the community. Adopting a fiscally responsible district budget, paying close attention to finances and regularly monitoring its fiscal health. Respect and maintain the oath that we take as Board of Education members. Being prepared for meetings, as well as being ready to engage in discussions, to ask questions and seek clarification. Building and reinforcing bridges between the community and the school district to serve students, staff, and community with respect, integrity, dignity, trust, and transparency, and lead by example. Thank you.
Tammy.
The roles and responsibilities of Board of Education members are very clearly outlined in education law. It's about the mission and vision. It's sometimes called the 30,000-foot view. So while you want to be connected to your community, it's important to respect the role of others who serve as administrators, teachers, and staff. It is the superintendent's responsibility to lead and the board's responsibility to ensure policy and guidelines support the district's mission in a fiscally responsible and strategic manner. The superintendent is the CEO, so to speak, and boards of education govern and conduct the business of the school district. So to be able to do that in a way where a board has the trust and complete cooperation of its members is incredibly important. And we really treasure and look forward to sharing that collaboration with our future board and continuing the good work that we do. Thank you.
Janice.
Ultimately, it's to hold the district accountable for its spending and decision-making and keeping the students, staff, and all community members at the heart of every decision. They should be the checks and balances. They should research and gather data from multiple sources before coming to decisions. They should also be able to recognize and speak up when something doesn't seem right. They are the last line of defense and are the ones to hold the superintendent accountable and maintain the goals of the district.
And Linda.
Student learning is job one. This means the policies and resources of the district are targeted to promote achievement for all students. A key job for school boards is to create a long-term vision, mapping a course that provides the necessary opportunities for students' needs to reach their full potential. The board is responsible for establishing and maintaining a structure that supports this vision, empowers the staff, and provides leadership. Board members should be engaged with the community and committed to the district. Confidentiality and trust are essential. A board leads as a united team with the superintendent, each from their respective roles, with strong collaboration and mutual trust.
Thank you. And we actually do have time for a final question. It's amazing. So go ahead, Catherine. You're going to start with item R on this last one.
What have you done beyond your full-time job that may qualify you for this role?
Besides teaching, I said earlier, I am the Work-Based Learning, the Workers Educational Coordinators Association Zone Leader for the Rochester area. That's all the work-based learning teachers in Monroe County. I'm also sit on their board for New York State for work-based learning. I was the FBLA advisor traveling to California, Atlanta, Chicago with our students so they can compete nationally. So obviously it's just more than just the classroom that I've been working in, if you want to call it work. So basically that's it.
Maria.
Well, I've raised 3 beautiful children, and they're successful in spite of me. And I have 2 beautiful grandchildren. I volunteered for many years in my children's classes when they were students in Webster. I do volunteer now, too. I have volunteered in the religious education program at St. Rita's Church as a teacher in 2nd grade and 9th grade for many years. I currently volunteer in a program called Adopt a Family during Thanksgiving and Christmas, where we help the poor. I'm the coordinator and scheduler for readers at the 5 o'clock Mass at my church. I'm one of the facilitators of the Parish Community Forum at my church. I served as WTA Vice President, that's the Webster Teachers Association, co-president. I was on the grievance team, and I was a representative for many years, and I served on many district committees. And besides that, that's it. I don't have anything else. I'm sorry. I had a thought, but it just escaped me, so sorry.
It's all
Tammy.
running together.
Yeah.
I've served in countless ways, locally, statewide, throughout the county, and that's probably my favorite thing that I do now. In addition to the steering and president's committee, the information exchange engages our county in discussions that really impact and cause us to consider better our resources. BOCES is a tremendous resource. We're very fortunate to have the BOCES function the way that it does. If there's a solution to a problem, especially around technology, when 21 districts can do things just as one, we all save. We all benefit from that. All of the experience that I've had as a volunteer has really taught me that the ability of people to work together toward a common goal is really the only way for all of us to be successful. Consensus building, working as a team, and working to strengthen public education in a way that includes teachers, staff, parents, students, and administration, working toward the betterment of all is the way for success for all of us.
Janice.
I've been involved in my community since I was young, and have even helped my mother in her own kindergarten classroom growing up. In high school, I earned several honors for my volunteer work, which led me to accepting a community service scholarship at St. John Fisher College. At Fisher, I volunteered all over the Rochester area, from shelters to city school classrooms to homes with children of special needs, and earned a 4-year service scholarship throughout. I am involved with my children's education, their extracurricular activities, and can manage a very busy household all at the same time.
Linda.
I've been a volunteer for 13 years in this district. I started as a room mom, and it ended up being elected to the board. I sit on many district committees. Probably the most important is the Webster Health and Education Network. Attend monthly meetings with them, also on the program committee. For Monroe County School Boards Association, I'm on the labor relations. I've also been on information exchange. I've been fortunate enough to be at several New York State conferences and also national conferences where we learn so much information about other school districts. I try to volunteer as much as I can. This year, keeping track of all the volunteering that we have been doing as a board, and we are up to almost 600 hours in 1 year of volunteering. So volunteering is important to me, and I think that's what helps qualify me for this job.
And finally, Nick.
Once again, a parent of 3 kids, and then I've done a little bit of volunteering with the city school district where my mother works, and then I volunteer coach for a lakefront as well as Webster Lacrosse Club.
Well, thank you to our candidates, to our audience members and community for their questions. And we've had an opportunity to hear more about our candidates' skill sets, their views on public education and issues facing public education, and our school district and board operations. So we thank the 6 candidates this evening for your very thoughtful answers to these questions that impact our school community and really our entire community at large. So thank you to all 6. For our final piece of business, now I'd like to invite our candidates to make their closing statements. Timekeepers, these are only 1 minute. So since we began with Janice for our opening statement, we're going to start with Tammy for our closing statements. Go ahead, Tammy.
Thank you. At the end of the day, this position is about providing the best education possible for the nearly 8,400 students who enter our buildings every single day. They need to feel safe, secure, ready to learn, and that they have teachers, staff, and administrators ready to help them achieve. It's about bringing our mission and vision to life, and we are anchored in those words, our core beliefs. It guides our work. It creates accountability. My own involvement is an extension of my beliefs. It is very important to me. And I think now more than ever, we need people to serve with an open mind, free from outside influences. The divisive nature and political climate of our country can damage discourse. So to the extent that we can represent our district with an open mind and desire to serve solely based on the best interest of all stakeholders, provides an example of public service that elevates our entire community. Thank you.
And Janice.
I thank PTSA for allowing us the opportunity to speak tonight, and I hope that I have shown that I have a strong voice and that I can bring a much-needed and unique perspective to a board that will hold the district accountable and bring about more transparency to all of its stakeholders, and will truly listen to all the stakeholders for the benefit of our children and their education in the entire community.
Linda.
Just want to thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you to the PTSA for hosting, Krista, and the students. Webster is my home. I've lived here most of my life, and I'm a proud graduate. And my 2 children will someday soon be graduates as well. I've served on the board for the past 3.5 years, and I would like to continue to serve. We have a great district. I see firsthand the dedication and commitment of all those who work to educate our children. We have wonderful teachers and a forward-thinking administration who is always looking for ways to continually improve. I've spent many, many years volunteering in our schools, and I do feel that that has given me a unique perspective. I'm committed to making sound decisions and choices that will benefit all the children of our district. Students will always remain in the forefront of every decision I make. I request your continued support in re-electing me to the Board of Education, as we have so much more to accomplish for our students.
Nick.
This volunteer position is, in fact, precisely about education. This is a district that, if you look up, is declining in rank and grade every year and has for the last 3 to 4 years. I urge you all to please do your homework and vote responsibly. Thank you.
Ida.
During our Q&As, you've heard my concerns as well as what I think we are doing well. We are doing a lot of things well, but we do have some areas of improvement. So I would love to be part of the Webster Board of Education just so we can look at alternatives and different options so we can definitely improve because, again, we can always do better.
And Maria.
I'd like to thank PTSA and co-presidents Stacy and Allison, Krista, Paul Conley, who's doing all the video, and especially the students for being here tonight and for all of you for coming out. Tammy, Linda, and I would love to continue to serve you, our community. Ultimately, our fate is in your hands, the voters. I can promise you that our #1 priority is and will continue to be the well-being, safety, and positive educational experience of our students. Voters, please make your decision of who to vote for based not only on intellect, but from your hearts. For us, it's all about the students, and it will always be. Thank you for your support. Please vote on May 21st, 245.
Thank you, Board of Education candidates and audience members. This is, of course, a Meet the Candidates night, so we wanted to leave about 15 minutes for you to stay and do just that. So I'd invite you to come on up and feel free to shake their hand, maybe ask a question one-on-one that you wanted to ask them. And again, just a reminder that Meet the Candidates night will be available, this taped version, under the district budget link on our district's website, websterschools.org. And I encourage all of you to exercise your right to vote on Tuesday, May 21st. Thank you so much and have a good evening.